Hello, sir. Good, eve-
This,
good evening.
yeah, am I visible?
Yes, sir, you are visible.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. So let us start the session.
Yeah.
A very great good afternoon to everyone present in the webinar. I would ask everyone to just mute their uh, audios. All the participants kindly mute their audios. Thank you so much. They say we are living in an unprecedented times. Yes, COVID has resulted in massive disruption in our daily life. Yes, every day we come across a lot of negative news, of course. But as an engineer, what we do when a machine breaks down? We repair it, we reboot it. It is time for us to come out of negativities and restart our lives. Let us hear some real life examples over domains, technologies, and keep moving. I would invite Professor S.C. Chaube, Coordinator TechCube 3 at RGPV, to enrich us with his thoughtful words. Professor Chaube, if you're there. Hello, sir. I guess there's some connectivity issues from his end. All right. So let me tell you about our first keynote speaker, Professor KG Satish Kumar, sir. Our first keynote speaker is Professor KG Satish Kumar. He has more than 40 years of experience covering a variety of areas including manufacturing, industrial development, consulting, and teaching, along with research. He has earned his PhD in management of innovation. He was the part of the team which created Technopark and was its second CEO. He coordinated the team which created Kerala's first IT policy in the year 1988. I think it was India's first as well. He has consulted for several projects within and outside India. He has been visiting professors across many IIMs. Currently, he heads the Center for Assistive Technology and Innovation at National Institute of Speech and Hearing Trivandrum as its director. So KGS, if you could take up from here. Hello. I think there's some issue with his video. Let me just get back to him.
Shidesh, yeah,
Yes,
am
sir.
I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, if there is any issue with the voice, please alert me.
Yes, sir. Please. Please
Okay, thank
proceed, sir.
you. Thank you, Shridhi, for inviting me to be part of this conference, this seminar. Good afternoon, all participants. I believe most of you are engineers. Um, and faced with this COVID and the disruption that we are facing, we are seeing many views, many concerns being expressed. In fact, the livelihoods of many people are affected. Right now, I am in Trivandrum, and Trivandrum is in triple lockdown. So, which means I cannot move out of my house. Many offices here are closed. So, the government is now thinking about extending the lockdown, and there is a huge concern about that because it affects the livelihood of people. So, as youngsters, as young budding engineers, you may be concerned about your future. But this seminar here Uh, Aptly, my topic has been titled as challenging the status quo, taking the first step. In fact, the COVID pandemic itself is challenging the status quo, and uh, we need to think about it and take many proactive steps. In fact, engineers stand apart from others, in my opinion, in two major ways. One, they are always at the leading edge of change. Second, they are solution focused. That means they have solutions to any problem. So, as engineers, it is our job to find solutions to the COVID also. Particularly, there is no reason why young engineers like you need to worry about the COVID situation. On the contrary, you should be thrilled because you can come up with all kinds of innovations and solutions to the problems that we face. The enterprising ones among you will indeed thrive in the years ahead. COVID is a major paradigm shift in the environment in recent times. It has been forced on mankind by nature in such a short time. In fact, we have faced COVID in the matter of a few weeks. The significant changes have been brought about in the matter of a few weeks. There have been many such incidents earlier also, but several of them have been man made. For instance, take the invention of the steam engine. It displaced many jobs in the short term, but it also led to the industrial revolution, or what is now called the first industrial revolution. In the 18th century, it uh, threw out the window the till then applicable Malthusian theory. Uh, Many of you may know that in economics, there's a theory called Malthusian theory, which was uh, yeah, brought up by an economist, American economist called Thomas Robert Malthus, and not American, this British, European economist. Uh, Malthusian theory is somewhat like this: when the population increases, there will be a limit to which the agricultural production can meet the needs of the population, and therefore, famine will control the population. So, this theory was formulated or announced by Malthus in the 18th century about all the previous centuries, and it was applicable to all the previous centuries. But in the late 18th century, what happened is with the invention of the steam engine, it became possible to significantly enhance agricultural production. And therefore, the Malthusian theory became irrelevant. So it became redundant uh, in the 18th century itself. And we all know about several subsequent inventions like the electricity, the light bulb, the computer, the internet, and so on, which have changed our lives significantly. On each of these occasions, there was fear of tremendous job loss. But as it turned out, many times more jobs were created by each of these changes, leading to tremendous progress for humanity. In fact, most recently we know about the internet revolution, the computer revolution, and in the late 80s, when the internet was just coming up, there was significant fear about loss of jobs. Even organizations like IEEE, in fact, I have been part of the IEEE for 3 decades now. Even the IEEE was very concerned about potential loss of jobs due to computerization. But we all know what happened after computers and the internet became popular. It created tremendous job opportunities in countries, especially like India. So every scientific and technological innovation has led to disruptions, but create lot of new opportunities also. In fact, it's not only scientific and technological innovations that create such opportunities. Many catastrophic events also have led to change and prosperity. Much of the technological, financial, and business growth in the 20th century can be attributed to the two world wars. The Second World War, particularly, and the baby boom generation that followed, led to significant advancement in the second half of the 20th century in the whole world, culminating in what is called the roaring 1990s, as the Nobel laureate Joseph Stiglitz described the last decade of the 20th century in his book of the same name. The 1990s saw tremendous growth in various fields, including computer technology. In fact, even political tensions between countries have contributed to advancements. We all know that the Cold War between USA and the former USSR led to significant advancements in space exploration, space missions, and technological developments in a wide range of areas. In fact, this contributed not only to developments in technology, but also to quality and reliability, productization, production and manufacturing technologies, logistics, and so on. So essentially, what I would try to say is that COVID is nothing to be afraid of, especially by young budding engineers. COVID has presented all of us with significant challenges, and it is up to us to find innovative solutions. And these solutions will open up a lot of opportunities for enterprise and businesses. Coming back to my own organization, I work in the disability field for the last 5 years. My organization is called National Institute for Speech and Hearing. We have been around for 20 years now. We work closely with speech and hearing impaired and all other areas of communication disabilities, including autism, cerebral palsy, and so on. We work in the area of diagnostics, therapy. We create rehabilitation professionals. We provide degree programs to persons with disability. So, in fact, we work with a very vulnerable population, and you know that it is very important for them to have human contact. But for the last 6 months, for at least for the last 4 months, since March, since the lockdown in India started in mid-March, we have continued our services in most of the areas. In fact, our prime area of service is early intervention. That means providing support to students, to young kids without hearing, right from the age of 1, or even starting from lesser age. We actually work with parents. We train parents on how to provide speech and language to little children without hearing. We all know that usually when a child has no hearing, it is very difficult for the child to develop speech and language. Many such children go without hearing and without speech. But in our institute, we have found that if you can provide hearing aids to a child and start at a very young age, you can actually make the child speak and also acquire capabilities in spoken language. So that we have been doing for the last 20 years. And so far, it has been a face-to-face session between the therapist or the special educator and the child, of course, including the parent. But now, due to this COVID situation, we are not able to do that. But we have been able to switch the entire thing online. And with one very welcome change, the change now we see happening is that the parents are getting more involved Earlier, the parents were not as much involved. They were leaving things to the special educator, but now the parents are taking the ownership. The onus has come upon the parent. So the therapist communicates with the parent online, and the parents give therapy to the little kids. And that is working wonderfully fine. And our online classes for rehab professionals are also going smooth. We have some challenges in the area of teaching deaf students because they need to be taught in Indian Sign Language, and sign language needs significant video bandwidth, and there we are facing some issues. Of course, when I tell you that we are facing some issues, these are opportunities for young engineers like you to come up with solutions. Another area we are facing an issue is with audio diagnostics or any disability diagnostics because that needs the use of equipment, and it needs the persons with disability to come to our campus and interact with uh, the audiologist and work on an equipment. So that is a bit vulnerable because it can expose both the client and the audiologist to the virus. So that's a bit difficult for us. We need to do sanitization of equipment, sanitization of all surfaces, and more importantly, we have to put together a protocol which will ensure safety of both the client and the audiologist. If there are solutions which engineers can offer, that'll be very useful. Most welcome. Another welcome change that is happening now is consolidation. You know that faced with that challenge, businesses move into a phase of shaking out and consolidating. Shakeout means the more vulnerable ones will disappear from the business, and whoever is left will group together, will consolidate their strengths together to address the market more effectively. We see that happening now in many sectors, including even the education sector. For instance, we know that the American universities are now fearing a loss of revenue because they survive mostly on full fee paying students from countries like India and China. So that revenue will be affected if students from these countries stop going to the US universities. Of course, one model they are now coming up with is online distance education, which may effectively work. But education is all about the experience. When you go to a campus and experience the campus, that is a significant part of the experience. The online teaching will not compensate for that. So therefore, many American universities are now looking for collaboration. In fact, we have been approached by at least two universities for joint ventures for international participation. So this is going to be the way things will evolve in future, and definitely Indian universities should seek those opportunities and try to move ahead with that. Uh, in addition, in Kerala, we have a very promising ecosystem for startups because you may know that Kerala is hard pressed for land. Land is at a premium here. So most of our businesses are around services, and including education, healthcare, software, tourism, and so on. And over the years, we have developed significant expertise in that. Of course, tourism will need movement of people, but many of the other industries can be serviced online. So these areas will need new solutions, and therefore, as I see it, you young budding engineers should see this as a new paradigm and an opportunity coming to you for new developments, new innovations, and new enterprises. So I will pause here and I'll hand over to Kshitij to continue with the other speakers. Maybe we can respond to questions later.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Srijit, and thank you all for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Professor. So we had some words of enlightenment from Dr. KG Satish Kumar sir. Now we would switch on to our next speaker. Santa, you're there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So let me introduce you to the next speaker. Our second speaker is Sandhya Patel. She has been an alumnus of RGPV. She holds her bachelor's and master's degree in electronic communication and VLSI design. Presently, she is a researcher with Concordia University, Canada. Hi. I would
Hi.
request every aspiring researcher present in this webinar to listen to her very carefully. She is one amongst us. Let's listen to her story of transformation. Over to you, Sandhya.
All right. Thank you very much all for joining in here, and thank you very much for inviting me. And all right, welcome to the online webinar on career enhancement during COVID times. All right, let's begin. Let's get started. So, all right. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna spend some time here with you guys about like talking about transformation from state. Let me share my presentation first here. Just give me a sec.
Yeah,
I'll
we
just
can now
do
hear,
this.
we can now see your presentation. If you can make it full screen.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Thanks.
That's better.
All right, now you can see here my screen. Yeah. So what I'm going to talk about with you guys, like I said, transformation from a state technical university to a global league institute. So this is going to be based on my totally real life experience, like what I have in India, then how I moved here in Canada, and like totally like from scratch to till here where I am. All right, so here is the beginning of this story. I was born and raised in Deori. Maybe some have heard about Sadar. So I'm from a small village, and then from there I started working, like not working. I started my study. So I have done my 10th and 12th from Saraswati Shishu Mandir Deori, saying it straightforwardly from Hindi medium school. So I started like I enjoyed studying mathematics and physics, but when my like around in 2006, my father bought a phone which was 1600 Nokia, and that made me realize that okay, from there I started to think, how does it work, what is the technology behind it. I used to ask my father how does it really work. So from there he answered me at their level, but apart from that I also started asking to my teachers. So they are like, okay, if you're going to be engineer you will learn everything, because we are not at that stage, we can explain you every single thing. So despite the fact that I'm a girl and I cannot go outside of the estate for any kind of to pursue my, of course, engineering or for any further education, I landed up in an Radharaman Engineering College, and where I took a branch as electronic and communication. So from there, I really enjoyed. I want you guys to live your life during that period, because that will not come back again. So just pay attention to every single thing and get a good CGPA score. And then apart from that, you can also work on your interview process. So from there, yeah, I would like to also mention a few things. When I was in my fourth year, of course, I appeared in like tech test, which was for right, which was for campus placement. As we all know that it's general. Like if you are studying in a college responsibility is to give us placement. So all right, I was there, and I was really confident that I am good at everything, like scrolling Facebook, searching things on YouTube. But because that time it was really on June, like around 2012. So I was really overconfident. Okay, I can do anything in the world. So I appeared in the test, and what was the result? Guess. All right, I failed. So I admitted it, and then I could not pass that entrance. So that was, I wasn't in the next interview round, of course. And I started asking our professor that what are my options available. So they're like, okay, if you're going to be a professor, you can take over from there, like you can be something in your life. So I was like, okay, that was my first time when professor told me that you can be a professor. So from there I started looking for a job, and of course nothing will work if you are working in an uncertain world. So I started looking for a job, because at that time, like when you are in fourth year, no one is gonna do a thing like spoon feeding, as you guys know. Like we were in like child, mom is going to give you like feeding you by using a spoon. That's not the reality of the world anymore. So I started, and of course we have, when I was in my school, I this was before days of Google. We don't have those all like extraordinary access to Google, or maybe other like Google Translator or other facilities which we can get in this like real world, or like where we can seek help from if no one is there to talk with. Like what we want to share our thought, we want to ask someone. If we don't have anyone, like here we have internet and Google. I'm not asking like Google is the thing, but you can go internet, you can browse any internet browser. All right, so here is the story. Like, we have the availability and the facility, of course. And from there, I looked for like so many college. I applied there, and the two of them replied me back, okay, if you are, yeah. So one thing I had in my undergraduate, like that in my bachelor's, that I have scored good CGPA. So based on that, I got offered from Adina Institute of Science and Technology, Sagar. So I was started working there as assistant professor. So here I have started my first job. And I would like to also share my first experience in the first class when I had to deliver lecture. It was really memorable. To be honest with you guys, I didn't know that how I made it. I was thinking that I have given us like terrible performance. Now my supervisor, like my principal, who was watching me delivering a lecture, then they're like, okay, you are good, you can do it, and you were good during that lecture time. So because at that time I was feeling really nervous, because we know that the 70% of people in the India, they have those syndromes like imposter syndrome. If they are going to start something, they started to feel like nervous. As just starting this Zoom conference, I was really feeling like, oh my God, what I will do. I have a meeting. I have never done this before. What is going to be? So I started thinking about it a lot. Then my friends and family members, and of course my husband, he told me, okay, it will be fine. You are good, because you have done you have just done so many things. So based on those, I am gonna be really perfect, but I'm not. But I know this, and I still need to enhance or improve myself. Yeah, so from there I learned. I started doing jobs. I have done there like around 1.5 year. After during doing job there, what I realized that if I want to stay here as a assistant professor, it must for me to have a master degree. So I was like, okay, let's quit the job and go for the master, because I want my career to be certain, like future proof your career. So I was like, okay, I can do it. And I got into like Infinity Management Engineering College from Sagar, and of course, which is affiliated to Rajiv Gandhi Pratyogi Viswavidyalaya. And from there, it was totally a smooth journey. And from there, I wanted myself to pay my bill my own, because I don't want to be burden my parents. And of course, I was doing a part-time job as an assistant professor at Swami Vivekananda University. And just after defending my thesis or presentation, you can say, I was a guest lecturer at Polytechnic Government College, because this is the key, that if you are doing something, you just need to keep looking for next options. If you're staying in if I'm doing masters, I stopped everything. It will not change anything. You will be there because just keep exploring things, keep having experience. This is how life works, and no one is gonna give you things like in front of you. You do need to go with, like we have that example, like if you are a trustee, you need to go to near the well will never come back like near to you, of course. This is the thing. So from there I have done this. And when I was doing a lecture, like working as a guest lecturer, my sister at that time at Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Central University, and she used to say that, okay, if you are doing a degree from foreign university, because it would be great because the professor who has been appointed there, they have been given really preference. If you have done something from there, it will be really preference. So that the idea of studying from foreign bloomed from there. So I was like, okay, let's get started. Before quitting any job, I did like my deep dive into the research. I came to know that first I tried to find contact who was from RGPB University, who was living in outside of country, of course, abroad, and I couldn't find anyone because as I'm from a conservative family, I cannot connect with anyone, like especially with the voice. Now this is not that time anymore. We have now modern thinking, like because it's 2020. All right. So yeah, before moving into that career, I was really scary of uncertainty, giving up all I had to pursue a dream that may or may not work out. Like whatever I have, that leaving and going into like for further step, it was like a little scary, and but I was also excited that time. So I really realized, my family member and friend told me that of course whatever you are taking, we are in with you, but it of course just make it write it down that it's gonna take really long. So I was like, okay, कुछ पाने के लिए बहुत कुछ खोना पड़ता है, so let's get started. And from there I started again. Before quitting the job, let's get our available options. So I started applying. I started working on my English proficiency test, which is one of the first requirement to be in any university, especially in foreign. So actually, like I said, I was from Hindi medium school. My pronunciation, my concept, my thought process was good. I was always having really good marks in my all academic career, but not that much good where I can go and just jump in a sea. No, I wasn't like that good. Because if you are in your state, you can say that you are in a lake. If you are going like if you are doing like at India level, you are in a river. If you are trying to jump out of the like India, then it's like you are jumping into the ocean. So before you are doing that, just take some precautionary measurement. So I started doing it. I applied. Two professors replied me back. So that time I realized that RGPB University is great, and this is the something you can start from here, and then you can go anywhere in the world. So here I got some hope. Like we say, okay, let's get some hope, and then we will start from there. So from there I got hope, and then I quit my job, and then I started working on my TOEFL. And yeah, so one of the professor I talked with that was from University of Guelph in Canada, and he's like, okay, I'm good with your academics, I'm good with your basics. Actually that time I wasn't really good with my English. I had a little phone conversation with that professor. It was around midnight, and because he wanted to switch the time, like today this is early morning here, and it's going to be around 7 o'clock. So I woke up today around 5 o'clock to give you this like presentation, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you guys. And yeah, so where I have, yeah, I was talking to that professor. He's like, okay, we can get it done really soon. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna fulfill my all requirements before I'm going to the Canada. And what I realized after quitting the job, I felt lack of motivation. I was keep started doing the same thing, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, checking notification every single hour. And I think that, yeah, I had a time where I was using phone, laptop, every single piece of like electronics, like 6 hours a day, like spending 24 to 40 hours in a week, which was a lot for a person who is going to study in Harvard. So that time I realized that I'm doing great. I'm good at everything because I know how to do socializing. I know how to speak everything. And I appeared in my TOEFL exam and see what was the result. Mm, I failed it. I'm so sorry that I failed my exam and I was really nervous. And then after that, I lost my opportunity to go to Canada because professors are like, if you cannot make it, we are not going to wait because we have so many members in the line. They can come in. If you're not able to do this right this time in a particular time frame, then you are done. You cannot be in my team. I was like, okay, I was feeling really nervous. And after sometimes like, of course, it was really little heartbroken. So I started again regaining my energy because I had quit everything to do this. And I never gave up. I started working on again at this thing, yeah, and moved to Canada in 2018. I started, of course, I wanted to improve my English, so I started I started working as a volunteer, and I started a company which was Engineers for Hope. And then from there, I side by side, I joined English Coaching Institute to improve it. But that in that coaching, persons were, or like all the students were from all over the world. They were also seeking help to improve their English. So I wanted to know my level. I couldn't find anyone, and I was expecting that someone from Canada would be there. So except teacher, everyone was from out of the Canada. So of course, if you are born and raised in Canada, of course you will never go to learn English in any kind of like coaching institute. So the idea of being there didn't work out for me. So what I thought that, okay, let's get started with doing some work. If I'm going to work, of course, in Canada, two official languages are like, first is English and then not Hindi, I'm sorry, it's French. All right, so from there, I got into like Arvato Digital Services. I started working there as an order support agent who provides services to Apple industry. So there I was managing orders, and after doing work there for like at least 6 months, I realized that I'm not talking to customer. It's not what I wanted. And if this is going to be like this, I'm not gonna improve my English because I want to really score good band in my IELTS or maybe TOEFL, like those English proficiency tests. So I asked my manager if there is any different department where I can go and I can directly talk to customers. It would be great for me. So they're like, okay, we can switch you into like financial services. And by that time, they changed their name from Alvato Digital Services to Majorel. That was the company name, and that we say it call center. So there, I really felt really good when I went there because after doing training for 1 month, I was all set. I started taking calls, and in a day, I was talking to customers like 20 to 40 customers from the United States. So if I have an English accent, if I have any like inferiority, I cannot pronunciate this right that time, right? So I started like working on it, and I was really good. So after working there like for 6 months, I was again overconfident, and I was like, okay, this is this is the time where I can get my IELTS done. So I again appeared it, and I saw the result, and I failed it again because failing is not you are getting really, like, we don't have any cutoff to be here in any university. The minimum band is like 6.5 out of 9, and maximum you can get anything. So like, but I couldn't match the like writing stuff because my speaking was good. I was really happy because I got really good score in writing. Oh, I'm so sorry, not in writing, it's in speaking. All right, so then again I went to my manager. I started seeking help. If there is any department or part, I can move from like calling, taking calls to doing chatting, because in this way, if chat is coming in, I can just start like what, doing chatting, and then this will not only build up my idea, like I thoughts, but also my speed of typing or like something writing it down. If as long as you have your thoughts in your mind, you are gonna like do really excellent job. So from there, I worked there for 6 months. Like it took me around 6 months to cope up with my all fears, because I failed English proficiency test twice. So for I wanted to be really ready, because like I don't want to be failed like for the third time. So that was the time when I was like, okay, let's get started again and appear in the IELTS exam. So that time I got a good score, and I was really feeling top at the world. Like this was the all thing I was doing, and I got it. In the meantime, I got a job which was paying really high in Canada at Cambridge Global Payments. I was working there as a product support specialist, and this is the talk around like in January 2020. So like high paying job, everyone wants it during this pandemic time, and like an uncertain world. All right. So in the meantime, I side by side, I also, because I got my score, I fulfilled all the criteria to be in a foreign university. So I side by side, I was applying for different universities. So I have heard from 3 of them again, because yeah, 3 university I applied, and all the university, like all 3 professors replied me back, okay, let's have, if you are already here in Canada, we can have a little in-person interview. So I'm gonna explain you again, guys, like how I have done my interview process, because first time I'm not the one who can done things like first goal, like you are going in to face an interview and you are gonna get a job. No, I have never been a person like this. So whatever I have learned from all my mistakes. And yeah, so the first professor, he called me, we schedule an interview like in person, like face-to-face interview. So he gave me like in first meeting, he gave me 3 papers to read and just come up like in next week. I read those papers. I went back, and the professor is like, your basics are not good. I cannot keep you. Like this is not like this here in Canada or in any foreign university. They will not say directly to your face like you are bad. They will say that you are excellent, you are super, but we cannot continue further. So this means that if we cannot continue further, this means that I don't have something. For the second thing, like that, the first one was from University of Montreal, and the second one was from McGill University. So the professor from there, he gave me now 5 papers to read, and he asked me like, how much time you are gonna take it to come back to me after reading those papers. So I was really excited that first time I failed, I need to show my really enthusiasm to be here with that professor. I gave like really short period of time, like, okay, in a week I will read those 5 papers and I will come back to you. And from there, he is like, okay, I took like 6 years to wrote those 6 papers, like during my PhD and all. How this girl can do this? Let's get it started again. So yeah, I went there, and professor was like, okay, yeah. The first thing where I learned in like that second interview, 2 things. I was late by 5 minutes, because like in weather condition here in Canada or in Montreal in January is the worst case. So I was late by 5 minutes, and professor asked me a number of questions, and I tried to answer them like in my best possible way. So like whatever I have read from those papers, there was nothing out of those papers, like no out of syllabus questions. All right, I think we are running out of the time. Shidesh?
I would like you to just rush up because we have just 10 more minutes left, and we will take a couple of
Yeah,
questions
okay,
as well.
absolutely. Yeah, so from there, for the third, so I failed it again for the second time, and for the third time, from Concordia University, professor was really happy with my attitude, with my knowledge, everything. So he was like, okay, you are in. I would be happy to be your supervisor. So here I got it. So what I'm doing here, let me, yeah. So here I'm a part of a team who is working on development of 5G technology. As you can see that 2G network, 3G network, 4G in India, we all are using, but here in Canada as well, we are using 4G network. We are moving toward 5G. So I am like conducting research on the beamforming, and I don't think we have time to explore what it is, but I'm doing something like 5G network to improve your internet speed. Yeah, so I wanted to share with you guys like some strategies to be successful, like set concrete goal, establishing a routine or stick to it, and find a mentor as I have done always, streamline your routine, learn how to say no, be smart about money, and learn from your mistake and from others as well. If I'm doing mistakes, you are guys there, you can learn from my mistakes, because now you guys don't have time to make your own mistakes and then again working on your mistakes and then improving. So from there, yeah, I would also like to point out some common problem area. The first one is like technology addictions. Just don't go with their nothing is gonna happen if you are stopping scrolling Facebook, YouTube, or like any other unnecessary uh, applications. Too much socializing and poor sleep habit, lack of motivation, and ignoring health. Just so work on these all things. So these are some places where you can improve your attitude, like big commitment to goal, unrealistic view of what is expected, low confidence level. As I said, when I was working on my IELTS, I was feeling really low confidence, but I started to seek help, and then I did it. Right. So here, yeah, the benefit of engineering career, like job satisfaction and intellectual development, social impact, financial security, and creative thinking. So this is all we're gonna do here. I'm done with my presentation here. So this is not the end of my story, it's just the beginning. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you very much, guys, for listening. And if you have any guys question, you can just message me, or like you can ask Chitesh. So it would be great if I can like motivate you guys to follow my path, or maybe actually I'm not successful yet. So but you can start like stepping up in your like career. But I'm you can feel like I'm always there with you guys. You can ask me anything if you want ways to know like how you can be in a university, like especially in foreign. All right, thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you so much.
No worries, it's my pleasure.
So, all right. Uh, Let me thank to both of the participants. If KGS, you can also come in the video. Professor, if you can switch on your video. KGS, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Shidich?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let us take some questions from the participants. So one of the question is
Shidich, we are not hearing you now.
hope you will be able to hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can
Yes.
hear you.
Yeah. So there is a question that there has been difference in the joining dates for those who have has been accepted during their campus recruitment by the companies. So the question is, what should these engineers do till the time they get their joining letters? Maybe 6 months, may take a year. So what is your advice to them? How to utilize this time?
So is this the question for me or like from Professor Satish Kumar?
This is question for KGS.
Okay, thank you. So the most important thing is not to sit idle. And these days, you have a lot of opportunities. If you look at what Sandhya has done, she has been quite ambitious, doing many things. Okay, and if you can prepare for something, and this is the right time for higher education. So try to pursue higher education, or at least pick up some skills, do some certifications, and keep yourselves ready for an opportunity that will come up.
Yes, sir. So there's one more question to you, KGS, and this is again for you. Uh, so there's a mindset, the general common Indian mindset to work in the public sector rather than the private sector. But as we can see now that the jobs are shrinking in the public sector or the government sector. So what is your view on that, and how could these engineers prepare themselves for the private sector? Because you had a lot of experience in both private and as well as the public and the government sector.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I started my career in the private sector, then switched to public, then back to private, then came again to public.
Yes, sir.
So it actually doesn't matter where you pursue your career. Both public and private sectors give you a lot of opportunities. It depends on your interests, your tastes. So I would suggest that should not be your criterion. Your criterion should be what industry you would like to pursue. In fact, these days the private sector will give you more opportunities. Usually, the private sector will be at the leading edge of technology.
Yes, sir.
Public sector will give you more of safety, security, uh, but I think the private sector will give you more of opportunities. As youngsters, I would suggest that you start with the private sector because they have to uh, pursue the latest in technology for survival. In the public sector, if you start your career in public sector, you may as well become lethargic, and that is quite risky. It is very important that the first 5 to 8 years of your career, you should be working really hard. And that opportunity is available only in the private sector. Does that answer my question, your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It answers. So to learn and work, skill ourselves for the private sector, this is what you are, guiding the engineers so far. So this question is for Sandhya. You you had faced quite difficult times when you did your when you joined your career as assistant professor, and then you went for masters, MTech, and then as assistant professor, and then now research in Canada. So Sandhya, can you just answer what was the most difficult time that you faced in your career transition? Like you had repeated transitions. Sandhya, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, so like most difficult time, like every single time whenever I made my mind like from switching one place to another, I felt a little bit of uncertainty. Of course, everyone feels so, but the hardest time was when, yeah, when I was making my plans to to go for like a study abroad. That
Okay.
was the hardest part I have ever like done. And yeah, and anyone can do this. You just need to uh, tell your that background voice that okay, just stop chasing me and I will be fine.
Okay. So, and one more question to you is, how to work on the personality that just like you transformed your personality from being, what should I say, from being an engineer here to being a researcher over there. So, what should be done to, you know, uh, enhance our personality? This
Yeah,
is the second one.
so the personality enhancement, I would say that there are so many factors you can work on. The first one is like just forget about your inferiority. Like I am from India, how I like first I'm gonna tell you about my personal experience related to how do you look like what's your outer appearance. So if you are average looking like me, then you are gonna make it because we know that like in any foreign country there are black and brown. So my mindset of was like okay, I'm in middle, so I can do it because you don't need to feel like okay I'm wheatus or maybe brown, I cannot do this, no one is gonna hire me. here in like foreign, no one is gonna look at those things. So if you are if having really intellectual power, like really good kind of concepts behind your like
The grasping
appearance,
power. Yeah.
yeah, they are
So
gonna
appearance
like select
appearance
you.
doesn't matters.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter at all. Like no, never. It has never been like the thing. When I reached
Yeah.
here, then I realized before, because
Yeah.
when I was in Canada, I used to say this,
So we have
like
one more
train
question.
yourself to improve your first
Yeah.
English, and just try to represent yourself to like anyone. Like okay, I'm ready at all the time. So just
Okay.
be comfortable and just try to learn how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I think that's the key challenge for me. And
Okay.
this is now my
Uh,
motive.
yeah. So we have a question for KGS.
Hmm?
Uh, KGS, is this the right time for the startups?
Okay, yeah, yeah, in fact, I think so because there are a lot of issues that have come up, many
Yes.
problems that need solutions.
Yes, sir.
The main aspect of a startup is finding a solution, finding a problem to solve.
Yes, sir.
At this point of time, in fact, there are abundant problems to be solved because many of the conventional solutions have become they're not working. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and if you look at this field of disruptive innovation, so disruptive innovation is something where the status quo is challenged
Yes, sir.
by by a not so promising technology, but
Like
the will
Tesla's electric car or SpaceX.
yeah. So
Yes, sir.
they will on yeah, on the face of it they may not look promising and they may not look even challenging also, but over a
Mm-hmm.
period of time they will capture the mainstream market.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the right time for disruptions. But of course, again, pursuing startups will need, significant staying capacity. You should be able to stay on for at least 3 years, in my view, before the
Mm-hmm.
startup can start generating returns.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now at this point of time in India, the government is favorable to startups and the ministries are looking for projects.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so jobs will be difficult right now. That's what I think.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so either startups or
Or
has
higher education. Higher
yeah
education, higher
yeah.
studies. All right. All right. So I think we are up with the questions, and there are no more further questions. I have a question, a personal question to you, KGS.
Mhm.
So, how would you just now mentioned that there are a lot of problems that you face while working with in niche as well now?
Hmm.
So, how would engineers would approach you or the institute for solving and taking up as a challenge, or maybe as their major projects, or maybe as a solution, as a full-time solution provider, as a startup or something?
Okay, so yeah, Kshitij, you have been with us for a few months,
Yes,
so
sir.
you know how it works.
Yes, sir.
Because the very important aspect of success of a startup is to
Yes,
understand the user
yes, sir.
and the environment where the solution has to be applied.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, uh, we would like the solution providers, the engineers, the entrepreneurs, the startup entrepreneurs, to understand the user, to immerse into the situation.
Yes, sir.
So maybe you should talk to now. Ideally, we would like you to come to niche, walk around. You will see abundant opportunities for offering solutions.
Yes,
But
sir.
at this point of time, that is not feasible. At least you can talk to our audiologists and therapists, understand their problems, and try to offer solutions.
Is there any portal or any link available on your institute's website where these problems, if they are listed, so that the students may not be acquainted with the
Mm.
staff over there. So if a link is available, any student across India from
Mm.
RGP or from any other institution can just click there and can provide solution, can talk, can at least enthuse themselves into this what it is about. So
Yeah, I think we were maintaining a link on the possible problems for the benefit of engineering students. So I let
yes sir.
locate it. It is on our website, niche.ac.in.
Yes sir. Yes sir. So we are just about to wrap up our webinar. I would request Professor KGS to kindly provide some concluding remarks before we end this session. KGS?
Mhm. Yeah. So my view is okay. Definitely many of you will be looking for startups, entrepreneurship opportunities. My advice would be to start with the user because engineers have a wrong habit. They start with the
Yes,
technology and then move towards the user.
yes,
And
sir.
in that process, they may offer a technology which does not appeal to the user. So always, if you're looking for a startup,
Mm-hmm.
uh, understand the user's requirements, spend a lot of time with the user, and then you will understand different ways in which you can help them. Okay, so that's about startups, and those pursuing higher education. My advice is to be consistent. You have seen the journey of Sandhya Patel,
Yes, sir.
and the important thing is at this age, there is a lot of energy in you. And
Thank you, sir.
if you look at the history of most of our scientists, for instance, Isaac Newton or Albert Einstein, their best performance have been below the age of 25 years. If you ask me, uh, yeah, my best years were in my early 20s. If you ask your
Yes,
parents,
sir.
they will say the same thing. So this is the right
Mm-hmm.
age. So don't underestimate yourselves. You can really well, you can do a really great job. And this is the right time for you to work hard. So therefore, coming back to somebody asked the question of whether to start with the public sector or the private sector. Here
Yes, sir.
again, work with any sector, any area where the challenges are the highest.
Yeah,
Be-
that's right.
Because then at this point of time, you can always overcome those challenges and really perform.
Yes, sir.
And if the environment is tough, you will rise up to that environment and you will really perform. And that will give you a lot of energy for the coming
Yes,
years.
sir.
That's what I have to tell you all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sandeep, would you like to add something to him?
This is all I wanted to say, and that's it. And just I wanted to everyone to stay safe and be healthy. Just do some exercise and yoga, and for the performance enhancement, just to start watching TED talks, or maybe find a mentor where you can share your ideas. And this is how you can grow. That's it. This is all I wanted to add. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right then. We are now coming to the end of this session. I hope this session has been quite enlightening for all of us. The experiences we heard will be very helpful for tackling all the upcoming challenges in our life. Let me thank to the speakers who took out time from busy schedule. Thank you so much, KGS and Sandhya. I would like to thank Professor S.C. Chaube and his whole team for organizing the webinar on a very short notice. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.